Good morning, I'm Gitzel Puente with Two Works for You. Here are today's top stories. Right now, the nation is grieving two horrific mass shootings that happened less than 24 hours apart. This morning, a family is getting some closure 5 years after a cold murder in Oklahoma. It's a bittersweet moment for the maintenance workers who worked on these planes and built their careers around the MD-80. You can see how high the water got. This watermark here in this home, at least 5 feet high. Under this new law, all drivers in the state will have to keep their car registration inside the car at all times. Once they landed, they were met with more confusion and flashing lights. You can see the smoke still coming from the building. This is a big win for the defense today. Corey Atchison found innocent after more than 20 years in prison. La pequeña ciudad de Manford, Oklahoma, se despertó con un violento tornado que dejó destrucción de negocios y viviendas en el área. Workers right now are still clearing up the railroad track where those cars derailed. As you can imagine, they're in shock to see all this damage here. I'm with Lisa Watson. This is her home here behind us where a tree fell on your home. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm just trying to take a breath.
So we know that August is National Immunization Awareness Month. What should be on parents' checklists right now?
For most parents at this
Our chief meteorologist, Mike Collier, has been out there live at Bob Moore, Tulsa this morning for 2 Cares for the Community blood drive. Good morning, Mike. How's it going over there?
Hey, Gitzel, good morning.
And I'm always excited because I'm actually participating in it again this year. Yes.
So the lip sync battle is...
This is a historic moment for Oklahoma in its 6th day of a teacher walkout, but also for some foreign visitors who were at the rally here in Brookside who are now seeing the U.S. in a different light. These aren't the streets of New York City. The incessant honking is coming from a place fed up with the underfunding of public schools.
Every year in April, it's like, how much are we losing? How many teachers is that going to affect? What classes are we going to lose?
The message from teachers like Angela Loring in Tulsa is getting support one honk at a time. But it's also catching the attention of international visitors.
You know, this is a pretty historic moment for Oklahoma.
I would have never thought America would have such a thing here. We expect America as a power state to have everything. I mean, you guys are rich, you have the resources.
Jason Ball from Australia and Noktula Wenya from Zimbabwe are visiting Tulsa, part of the U.S. State Department, to explore American culture. For Wenya, the situation in Oklahoma resonates with her as a teacher.
Civil servants in our country are also very poorly paid, and the public schools are underfunded and all the rest of everything that is being said here. So I quite understand what is going on here.
Seeing the teachers rally isn't too surprising for Ball, though, who comes from a country that also has teachers' unions supporting public schools.
It's a no-brainer why the state is struggling in these ways when you're not investing in your kids, you're not investing in your teachers.
Despite the challenges Oklahoma and other states are facing when it comes to funding classrooms, these foreigners see Americans as privileged to have the freedom to speak up.
There's so much hope for the future, especially with young teachers coming in and just not accepting the status quo, knowing that things can be better.
People have a voice, and so I would like it very much to go back to my country, you know, and advocate for the people to be heard.
Although parents are supporting teachers and public education, they do want this walkout to end so their children can go back to classes. Reporting in Brookside, Gitzel Puente, Two Works for You. The pastor says the demographics for those people seeking help here at this organization has changed over the years, but he says that still doesn't excuse for what happened this week.
My children are Hispanic. We speak predominantly Spanish in my home. So for someone to be turned away for their language, it really offended me.
Megan Aviles says she witnessed several Hispanic women being turned away from Loaves and Fishes ministry on Tuesday for not speaking English. She was in line with her 2 daughters trying to sign them up to get Christmas gifts this holiday.
I'm very big on ethics. If you can't help my neighbor, my friend, then I don't want special treatment just because I'm white or I speak the language or for any other reason.
So she says she spoke up and tried to translate for them.
He said, no, we can't allow you to translate.
The reason I didn't use one of our guests or a family member or even a child is my experience sometimes with interpreters is that they don't necessarily interpret what I say.
Al Poncel, one of the pastors at the ministry, admits he didn't allow Megan or anyone else to translate for the families in line and even turn them away.
And I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I didn't want to offend anybody. I want to help as many people as I can.
He says the demand was higher than usual for their toy registration and he wasn't well prepared. But Poncel is already looking at ways to improve and make some changes to be more inclusive.
I realize that I need to have interpreters here, especially on the big events when we have large crowds, knowing that we're going to have an Hispanic group that's going to be here.
Thick, sticky mud with a strong odor is all over Marlene and Andy's home. They showed us inside where their refrigerator and a big grandfather clock were knocked over. Not far away in their living room, there's damaged furniture from the floods. And you can even see mold starting to grow on the walls. The images are devastating for this married couple who was living here on their retirement. Marlene says they used up their savings to fix this home up 6 years ago, and it was all gone in a matter of days.
We thought that was it on the furniture until we die. You know, we're up there, I'm 65, 70 years old. We don't know what's going to happen in these next few years to our health.
Outside their home, the garage still stands beneath several feet of water from the Arkansas River. We have video we took 13 days ago of the garage standing on the other side of their backyard. The flood waters were so strong, they moved the whole structure. And they're not alone. Their neighbors are also dealing with the same monumental destruction. Marlene and her husband Andy tell me now they're going to deal with insurance and apply for federal assistance. Reporting in Weber's Falls, Gitzel Puente, 2 Works for You. This beeping sound is how beep baseball got its name. The sport is played with an oversized softball for the visually impaired. The sound lets the batter time their swing.
It is extremely challenging. When you first come out, you're not going to get it off the, off top.
Faith Penn traveled from Texas to compete in this year's World Series here in Tulsa.
Ready, hit, nice.
Although she has a visual impairment, like the rest of the athletes, on the field, they're all equal.
There's different levels of blindness, so everybody wears a blindfold. So if you have some sight, this blindfold is going to cut all that out, so nobody can see anything during beep baseball.
There are more than 400 players competing from the U.S. and around the world. While Oklahoma doesn't have a beep baseball team, the Tulsa Sports Commission is proud to hold its first World Series.
Their entire families are here. They've been already to the gathering place, downtown, a couple of the museums. And so they're actually bringing a lot of economic impact into the city.
For these athletes, the sport isn't just a pastime.
You meet a lot of friends and a lot of people, and it's like your second home, your second family, so I love that about it.